Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. Okay, today we're going to be talking about freelancers. When should Amazon sellers be working with freelancers versus agencies? And when and where should you choose a freelancer versus an agency? What are the benefits with working with studios in China or in other countries? And when should you be using a 3D rendering? Welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
Okay, like I said, today we've got a really great episode. We're going to be talking about, and this happens so often, when should I be dealing with a freelancer? So expanding out from just being a solopreneur, getting that freelancer, and then freelancer versus agency. Our guest today has managed a portfolio of over 200 million per annum in the past with a background in financial planning and analysis. Our guest has also created a great company called AMZ One Step. I know, I use them myself. They are also a leading Amazon service provider in Canada with over 30 employees. He has been working as a strategic partner with companies, helping them scale on Amazon and grow their e-commerce presence. I have an honor of talking with Saddam Hasan today. He's a great guy. It's first time on the podcast. Like I said, I've been dealing with him on and off with my own listings, and these guys know their stuff. So let's have a quick word from our sponsor. If you're selling on Amazon in 2022, you know how important it is to stand out from your competition. Let Hono Worldwide lend a helping hand with your product innovation to outcompete your competition online. That's right. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the success of your newly innovative product while Hono handles all the work. Visit honoworldwide.com for more information. That's Honu, Honu, worldwide.com, or email savings@honoworldwide.com. All right, where's Beard Boy?
Hello.
Look at you.
No.
That took what, about a year to grow?
Yeah. It's a work in progress right now, but it's coming in strong, I'd say.
Don't say the word strong. Don't say. My dad used to call it. No, he didn't call it peach fuzz. What was the word? Bum fuzz. There we go.
Bum fuzz. Oh, now I gotta shave this. I don't want to think of
No, you look good. You look,
face.
Yeah, you look good.
All right, thanks. Anyways, let's start off the show by smashing those like buttons, giving us the thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. Welcome to Lunch with Norm. Welcome, Beardos, our Beard Nation. We love you. It's good to see everyone. I can see Cool Hand 99 is joining us from the Pacific Northwest. Let us know where you're watching from. We're actually got an all Canadian cast today, so that's great. We've got Saddam from Alberta, and then we're over in Ontario. So let us know where you're watching from. And and don't forget, if you're new to the podcast, go over and join our Facebook group. That's Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and e-commerce collective. That's where all the fun happens. That's where you can ask your questions, get insights, even giveaways too. We're doing some giveaways with Carbon 6 in the group, so head over there to get all those goodies. And let me see who else is joining us. We have Christine, Fanny, who we met in Mexico. It's good to see you from San Diego. Can't grow a beard, but I don't want to have any fuzz either. I hear you.
Is that you saying that, or was that? Oh, no.
That's Christine. Yeah. And anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We have a great Wheel of Kelsey today as well, so stick around to learn more about that. And Kelsey, of course, questions. Yes.
We should say, and we'll say this a couple times, we're throwing a curveball into the Wheel of Kelsey. So what we've noticed is all of a sudden people come on and they start typing hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Well, if you don't know what the prize is, you might not be able to use the prize. So we're going to wait till about halfway through the show, and we're going to say hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, and you have to add a mystery hashtag. And once you do that, you'll be eligible to win the Wheel of Kelsey. We just felt that, hey, we get a lot of entries every week, but if you can't use it and you don't know what it is, then there's no use of doing that. So we threw a curveball in there, and we think it's just going to help funnel in to those people that really want the prize and not just put it in. Did I say that right, Kels? Did the old guy say it right?
So
Okay,
yeah,
we're
gonna be randomly dropping that keyword, so you have to watch the episode as well to know what it is. And of course, if you haven't already, YouTubers, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do it, please. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, and if you want to know the mystery keyword in advance, Kelsey does accept 20s and coffee.
That's k@lunchwithnorm.com.
All right. So is that it, Kels?
That's it.
All right. So if you do have any questions or comments, please throw them over into the comment section. We will try to get to them. I think we're going to have a lot of comments and questions today. This is a really great topic. Freelancers, agencies, when do you separate from being a solopreneur? These are all questions that we get on a regular basis. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the show. Welcome, Saddam.
Hey, thank you for having me, Norm. Love that intro, by the way. And funny enough, leading up to this podcast, I got COVID like 2 weeks ago. So
oh no,
I'm good now. But I thought it was a good opportunity since I was isolating myself. I'd grow a beard as well, since you guys are called, the fan base is called weirdos.
Yeah.
But just like Kelsey, I struggled. So I had to get rid of it after the 2-week point. So here we are without a beard. But hey,
it's your wife. It wasn't you. Come on, be straight with me. Your wife made you shave it off.
You know what? No, she was in support of it. She thought I could do it, but after 2 weeks, I think she thought differently. So we made a unanimous mutual decision for it.
All right, there, very good. I was saying at the beginning, I like what you guys are doing. I provide, like I go to your AMZ step one step for some of your services. I've used you in the past. It's very good, and you've grown quite rapidly. So I thought it would be a really good idea to come on and let's talk about freelancers and agencies. And maybe the first question is, when do you know from being that solopreneur, that Amazon seller, when do you first reach out? Forget the agency or freelancers. When do you first kind of reach out and try to get some help?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, one thing that we have to realize is with the Amazon FBA model, there's already some outsourcing happening since day one, right? When you're sourcing your product, you're not doing the manufacturing yourself. That's outsourced. When you ship your products to Amazon, if you're doing FBA, you already outsourced the supply chain that goes to the customers. So the reason this whole model is so attractive is because you can outsource quite a few things and it can become a passive income stream for you. So unlike traditional businesses, you have this great opportunity where you don't even have to touch your product. Everything can be just manufactured in a sourcing country and delivered straight to Amazon, and they figure out the dispatching. So with that, obviously, there comes a constraint. There's a budget constraint or a cash flow restriction. And as a solopreneur, at first, you have to wear a lot of hats. But you also have to realize that Amazon is becoming more and more competitive, and you have to take actions from day one that's going to set you apart and help you establish your brand. And in order to do that effectively, if you think about it, it's no longer a game of launching 300 to 500 units to test the market. You have to go in with a bigger investment. You're probably spending close to maybe $15,000-$20,000, everything included. So might as well take that additional step and outsource things that you're not necessarily skilled at. Now, one of those things, obviously, that we deal with at AMZ One Step is the creative side. So your photography, the videos, any A+ content, if you want to have a storefront made, all of those things, you might not necessarily have any photography or design background to do so. So there's really only two options that you have to go for. Either you approach a freelancer who can do it, or you go with a vetted agency. And that's why, going back to your question, when is the right time to outsource, or when should you start thinking about it? I think day one, if you want to be successful and have a good chance at making it big on Amazon.
I agree. When you're first learning, if you've gone out to, let's say you're listening to Kevin King, and all of a sudden you sign up for his course, or ASM, you go through, you understand. I believe you have to have an understanding before you do anything. And then the trick is, when I first started to outsource, I would just kind of video everything that I'm doing. So I use Loom, and I just kind of go through the process. Now, I don't know if at the time, if it's the best way to do it, but at least I have something to show somebody that, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to achieve. Most of the time, if I'm okay at something, the freelancer that I'm buying or hiring is much better, and they can come back with better ways to do whatever I'm doing. It could be optimization, it could be PPC, it could be whatever it is, but at least the foundation's there that I understand it. So I don't know about you, but like right off out of the gate, I just like recording what I'm doing, and maybe I'm messing it right up, but when I show that person, at least they have an understanding of how bad I'm messing it up, or what I'm doing that's really great, and they know that I know my stuff. And that's what I like, by the way. If I'm working with social media, or if they don't know who I am, they don't know if I've been on Amazon, and they start coming back with all these extra costs, and it's kind of like, I already know this. I leave that to Kelsey.
Yeah. And that's a great point, right? We appreciate when sellers or brands know a bit about what we do before they come to us, because that just places a lot more value when we give them something that's going to set them apart from, let's say, maybe going to a freelancer. A very good example of that is, PPC management. If you don't know how to set up campaigns, how to manage them, just even a little bit, intermediate skills, I would say, you can't really expect an agency or a freelancer to turn things around. You won't even know what they're strategizing. You won't be part of the strategy discussions, and everything has to come from the brand. And in order for them to provide that strategic piece to any freelancer or any agency, they need to know exactly who they're working with, what the scope is, and what is the objective they're trying to achieve. So 100%, you should learn a bit about the skill before you actually get it outsourced.
The other thing about this is getting the right person, whether it's, you said, a vetted agency. Well, if you don't know what to look for, then it's going to be tough to vet something. And that's the same with a freelancer. One of the things that I've learned is to prepare a good, very detailed job description, and even a hiring process. We've got a fairly crazy hiring process that limits, like, instead of having 700 resumes, you get it down to 40. From 40, you get it down to 4 or 5, and then you've got your selection. The process is a lot tougher, but it's just something we've learned over the years. But one of the most important things, whether you're hiring an individual freelancer agency, is that job description is there. And finding that job, if you don't know, you might have to go and do some research and find an already existing job description and just kind of copy it over. But you've got to, I don't know about you. So if I'm hiring you to do my video or some sort of creative, as an agency or freelance, you've got to know what I'm looking for, right?
Exactly.
And it's probably a lot easier for you if you go, oh man, okay, I can do this. Let me question if these are prerequisites or not.
I think one of the easiest way, I do a lot of hiring too. In fact, we've been doing a lot of hiring now. Obviously, we have our HR department that kind of looks after that. But initially, I even when I was hiring freelancers, the common thing that I would notice is, are they asking me questions? If before starting on a project they're not asking the right questions, that just lowers my confidence in them, because
Yeah.
they're basically a yes man, right? So they'll do with whatever knowledge they have, and they're trying to execute the task, but not really understanding what the brand's perspective or what their objectives are. So first point is someone who you're hiring or the agency that you're hiring, are they asking the right questions or not?
Yeah, one of the sites that I go to, a lot of people go to the site, but it's onlinejobs.ph. And when you log in there, they'll have detailed descriptions, which you can edit. That's one. ZipRecruiter also has detailed job descriptions. You just have to type it into Google and you can find out, and then you can edit it for yourself. If you're not sure, you can always add in with people that are talking, and then just see if this is something that you'll need or not need. Let's get into the pros and cons of a freelancer. So let's start off freelancer. What are the pros? What are the cons?
Yeah, so it's so definitely some pros to it. You can get stuff done faster. There's a lot of platforms that have vetted freelancers as well. Fiverr, Upwork, they're the usual go-to ones. And
Yep.
honestly, you can find people with a good success rate. Just like picking any product from Amazon, you look at reviews. Same thing you can do on Fiverr and Upwork, right? So for me, the question becomes more of an objective, I guess, going back to that is, are you trying to launch a product, or are you trying to establish a brand? If it's just launching a product, again, just prefacing it back to the creative side, as a freelancer, you will either get a designer or a photographer, and they can do the job. If it's a photographer, they can take a few images. They can give you a set of 7 images, maybe a starter video with that. Same thing with a designer, right? They're going to look at it from a designer's lens. But if you're establishing a product, you have to do more than just create images or a video. You have to set the brand tone right. You have to have the right font selection, the right color palette. Everything from a branding perspective needs to be cohesive and coherent across all detail pages, whether it's images, A+ content, video, your storefront, any of the other listings, including Amazon posts, or the list goes on. But in order to achieve that, it's not a one-man job. So you need creative leads that come up with a vision for the images or the video. We call it the image plan in our case, or screenplay if you're doing videos. Then we need a production team. There needs to be models on set if you need proper branding images or videos. They do the production shoot, then it goes to the design or editing team. So it's a whole process divided into multiple mini tasks that's then achieved by a whole team versus a freelancer. So going back to the pros and cons, yes, you can get it done economically. You can get it done maybe faster even. And it's a good way to launch, right? If you are budget constrained, go with a freelancer. There are a lot of vetted platforms. But if you're establishing a brand, that's where the cons come in, because you're expecting a person who is skilled at one task to do pretty much everything for you. And that's never going to happen. At some point, you will realize that the competition is doing things that you're not doing. And by that time, you might have probably spent more than $10,000 or $20,000 just on advertising inefficiently, which you could have done efficiently from day one had you gone with an agency.
Right. That's an excellent point. And that brings me to a thought with hiring a VA. So you go, you're working 25 hours a day. You're getting up a half hour before you go to bed. I mean, it's the life of an entrepreneur. So you want to reach out and get a VA, and you've done your interviewing and you're very satisfied, but then you hire somebody, and so many people, when they're doing this for the first time, think that that VA is a super VA, that they are, because they're a VA, they're an expert in everything. Those expectations are so high that they're from the beginning already set up to fail. And one of the areas that I like to look at, I create a task board, and I create these tasks. I call them the $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000 tasks. And when I'm hiring a VA, those $10 tasks, those are the ones that get repeated ongoing, that are very easy for me to train, just to get some of this off of my back, things that I don't need to do and that are very easily to be trained. Those are what I'm showing the person. If they're not an expert in Facebook, if they're not an expert in brand or corporate identity, they're not touching that stuff. We can look at it. We can ask them to go and research this, or give us some examples of your social media. But we find out usually fairly quickly that these are their strengths, and we're going to work on those. Their weaknesses, we're going to go and we're going to hire separately. So it's not a single VA that we hire, it's multiple people. Now, usually that main VA that we're bringing in, and we're kind of going down different rabbit holes here, but that main VA that I'm bringing on board, if they're 20 hours a week, I'm hiring them 40. If they're good, I just want them to be with me. I overpay them a little bit, and I just want to make sure that they're my go-to person. They're the person that can handle all those $10 and up tasks, but they're reliable, they're loyal, they have the same personality. But brand tone, brand story, corporate identity, that's a whole different bird. And I just want to make that clear, because a lot of people getting into this business make that mistake. Would you agree?
Totally agree. And it goes with any kind of VA. If you want a successful VA, as a business owner, you need to make a decision. Either you have to spend time or you have to spend money. So just like you mentioned, a successful VA is not going to be an expert at everything. They're probably going to maybe cross off 2 or 3 things from your list. And if you have the money to spend, create that team. You can get amazing top level talent from the market that have worked with established brands or have worked with brands and established them, and they can bring that experience over to your brand. But if you're budget constrained, or if you don't have the money necessarily, then you have to spend time with them. And by spending time, I think Loom videos is one of the best ways to do it. Create an SOP, as any document or any sort of training, and just create them on Loom, and share it with the VAs. And it will take time. I'm talking about maybe 6 months, but they will have to understand and learn your business before they can actually start providing the value that you want them to provide.
Yeah, I've got 2 comments. One is, I get a lot of Facebook messages saying that people are VAs, and I'm interested. If somebody says they're a VA, great. Like, give me something to look at. Give me a portfolio. So I wouldn't hire anybody without seeing some sort of resume or portfolio. The automatic red flags for me is when I get a message that looks like it's just been copy pasted, that this person's an expert from everything in Amazon, listing optimization, everything. And I just, I'll just say, okay, thank you, or whatever, and I'll answer, but it'll be red flagged, and I won't even go any further than that, because I know a single person cannot be an expert in everything. And if they come back to me and they said, hey, I can do listing optimization, I've done this, I've got these results, perfect. You've got my interest. Now, that being said, being old, losing my hair, I forgot my second point. So let's carry on.
No, but you're right. And that's the one thing that's happened in the Amazon space in the last 2-3 years. a sudden influx of so many VAs just promising the moon to you. They have a big laundry list of things they can do for you. And sometimes I'm thinking, as an agency, we're not able to even cover 30% of that. How is this one person, doing all these 20 things? So yes, it's jack of all trades, master of none, right? So you don't get the value.
And now, since I gave you that time, I remember my second point. Okay. one of the other things that I found, and this is just 30 years of experience, is if you're hiring a few people, so now you've hired a variety of people and you've given them a set number of hours, and those hours you're saying, okay, so I've got this really great VA. Maybe you didn't hire them full time, maybe you did, but now they're stretching out. 3 people are like, you've got your Facebook person, you've got your social media, you've got your other VA, your general VA, but it's so loose and there's so much extra time that nothing gets done well, or it's always dragged out. So one of the tips that I have is I like stress. I like putting a little bit of stress, not too much, but if I know that there are dated events, there's one rule in our company: you can't get fired in our company except for one thing. If there's a dated event, an event that is so critical that you can't miss, it's an automatic termination. Usually, if you have if we send this out to anybody and they can't do it, they come back a few days in advance and say, hey, I just swamped, I can't meet this, we can jump on it. But if that date comes and goes without communication, we'll never use the person again. They're gone. It's too critical for us. It's too critical for clients. It's too critical for everybody. But what we like to do is say, all right, we've got this person, they're working 8 hours a day. Let's give them 7 hours and a half worth of work. Let's give them 8 hours and 1 minute worth of work. Like, let's get them to the point where they need to work. They need to be on the ball. And if they need help, we're here to help. That way, a little bit of stress, I think, goes a long way. Not to the point where the person's pulling out their hair, not where they're not sleeping at night, but that they have to get the jobs done based on timeframes. And like Amazon posts, okay, well, you have to do 5 Amazon posts in an hour, and based on a time study, and that should be good. Well, if you're doing 3, something's wrong. And then we'll look at it and try to figure out what's happening. But if we have it loose and we don't have time associated with it, or somebody's just doing it at their own time, usually I find the work quality will go down. And the timing is just, it's very lax, and you just don't get the same results. So don't usually hear that, but I like putting pressure on people.
Yeah. And, it goes back to, we have about 125, I think, around that, team members, right? And at the beginning, we were, scaling, and there were a lot of people. We had to do a lot of hiring in the beginning stages. And what I found out was the exact opposite of what I had thought initially, which was I thought if I hire people, I am slowly taking things off of my calendar. So my time required is going to slowly reduce. But the opposite happens. So every time you introduce a new department, a new team member, or a VA, you're basically adding things to your plate as well. Because you have to figure out onboarding, you have to figure out training, you have to figure out that they're meeting the deliverables. And, you have to get creative, thinking about a bonus plan, thinking about team culture. That's extremely important. The same person can be missing deadlines in your team, but they might be an excellent team player in a different team. So the culture that you set is really important. And it all goes back to whether you have time to set up their day-to-day scope of work. If you can't do that, if you're only going to start with, let's say, 3 hours a day, and you think, okay, slowly I'm going to work them up to 8 hours. No, day one, they have been introduced in a bad culture where they're relaxed, where they're just wasting time. So how do you expect them to to put on more stress as they go along the way. Something to consider.
That's very good information. So let me see. We're getting close to the bottom of the hour. Actually, we're at the bottom of the hour. Just a couple of things. Like we said, we're going to do something a little bit different this episode. So Wheel of Kelsey, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, we have a mystery word. And for those who entered too early, if you're on the podcast still, that mystery word is hashtag one step. Hashtag one step. If you mention that, then you'll be. And what did you do? Did you do something? What did you do?
I already got the second
Oh
hashtag in there, and the big text that goes across the screen that you can see right there. The
What?
hashtag video. Hashtag
Oh my
video
God.
is today's.
You're not on board
keyword.
with me, Kels. You're not on board with me.
We should have.
Mom's in the room right
yeah.
now. Kelsey's
Oh no,
screwing this
not
up.
mom.
Yep. She's pouring a cup of coffee for me right now, but
All right. So
she agrees.
I do see comments coming in. Hashtag video, hashtag one step. Either one of those, they're fine. We'll enter you. We just want to make sure that people that entered today's giveaway, that they are actually interested in the
Kelsey,
giveaway today.
If they enter one step or video, I think in this show, because it's the first time, they get entered.
That's what I just said.
And I'm waiting for Yanni to make some funny comment here, but that's what the rules are now. Okay, so this is the first time. So if it sounds a little bit confusing, it's because it is. But we will do hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, and then the mystery word is video or one step. Saddam, why don't you tell us about the giveaway? It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So anyone who gets a chance to win this will get a free starter video, and it can be any type of video that they want, just nothing with models, nothing too crazy, but a really good one that works well on Amazon is a demonstration style where we show a few features as infographics, and just in different studio environments. So that's going to be the free giveaway for today.
All right. And Rad, if you win this one, oh my gosh, you're going to be taken off the wheel, but we'll let you enter. Anyways, yeah, he's won a ton lately. All right. So this is fantastic. That's what we're going to be doing. But let's go to one of our sponsors now, and then we'll come right back. Legion is your go-to community where you can learn, grow, and build your Amazon and e-commerce business. As you know, being an entrepreneur can be lonely. Now you can share struggles, build a network, and celebrate your successes. And guess what? Our community is free. All you have to do is head over to our Facebook group to join. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel at Private Label Legion, so you can stay up to date with tips, strategies, and advice from other experts in the industry. Okay, remember one thing. To get all this great information, follow us, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get automatic notifications. Okay, let's talk a little bit different now. Let's talk about the images and the videos that you're talking about. We've talked about going to other countries for this, and the one that you talked about was China. Why, when, and how can you go to China to get photography done or videos?
Okay, so good question. So let's start with the why first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very simple, straightforward answer. Most of the manufacturing that people do is from China. So it makes sense to do it from China, because when you're manufacturing, by the time you get your batch and it's already on the way to Amazon, you have to send out one sample to the production facility, and it's a hassle. Whereas within China, if you ask the supplier to send out a sample to any location, sometimes they'll even do it for free. So there's no cost to it. Things get done much faster. And that's where the when comes in. You can literally do it when you're maybe doing sample inspection, or before, when your inventory is almost ready and it's being ready to be shipped out to the Amazon warehouse. You have a good 1 to 2 months lead time there. So it's much easier to do all the branding stuff within that window. And that's where you can just send it to a studio in China. And yeah, where I guess so. One of our studios is in China as well, and the primary reason we introduced that studio was just to give that additional convenience to our brands that we partner with, giving them a facility just out of China where their manufacturing happens. Now, one thing worthy of mentioning here is we have access to different types of models. There's to fit different demographics, right? Because if you're selling in the U.S. market, you might not necessarily want to work with, models out of China, native to China. So just having that extra flexibility in the portfolio for models is an added benefit.
Yeah, I know that Afalabi and I were working with some studios over in China, and it was great because we could get all the videos that we wanted set up. If it was a demo or if it was the benefits or how to, we'd have to pay, or even photography, and it was fine. It was less expensive, and we just were able to get this, a month or two, three before it was selling on Amazon, so we could at least have that information. Now, the other thing, I don't know how great it was for infographics. We just brought the product photography back and we would do the infographics ourselves. But like you said, a lot of these photography studios have access to all sorts of different models. It doesn't have to be Chinese, but you can use all different people whatsoever, just depending on the studio. So we found it to be very effective, very cost effective, and the quality was there too. So there were a few really, good examples, just reasons for going to China. Now, with your studio, like let's say that we're working with AMZ One Step, would we have to tell you that in advance, or would you just automatically know that the products are being produced? You're going to work with a photographer over there.
Yeah, so that's a preference we provide to the brands. Any rep that's in touch will usually ask them what studio they prefer. So we have studios in 4 different countries, and depending on client preference, that's what we go with. Usually, if it does end up being China, sometimes we do suggest it as well. As an example, if it's an oversized product, you don't want to pay a lot for shipping. Or, we're Canadians, right, Norm? So
I haven't heard you say A yet.
I have the Tim Hortons cup to back it up. But yeah, the weather's harsh in winter. And a lot of the outdoor shoots we have to either postpone to the summer months, or that's when we usually suggest that they should be shipped to the Chinese studio. That studio location is on an island, so it's beautiful. The weather's always great. It's just like California.
Yeah.
So yeah, for any restricted shoots, we prefer to go to the China studio.
All right. Very good. What about, and I've heard different things about this, but 3D renderings. Do you do a lot of 3D renderings? Is it just packaging? What are your suggestions?
Yeah, I would say almost 80% of the projects that come in now do involve 3D rendering.
80?
Now, 80%.
Wow.
So every year, just more and more people gravitate towards it, and for a good reason. I'll tell you a story. So I was, I got married like 6-7 months ago. And as a wedding gift, my wife decided, I should get a luxury watch. So this was the first time I was in the market for a luxury watch. Usually I spend about $200, $300. I think I can get a decent sized watch. If you are a luxury watch fan, just don't hate on me, but I just never got that market, right? And I remember having this Tudor watch catalog, and I was flipping through it and just picked a few watches. They were so spectacular, the images. But when I went to the store, I was a bit disappointed. The reality, the watch actually didn't look like the pictures. So I did a bit of digging around, looked at how to do product photography for watches. And usually to get one of those images created, you need to spend about 15 to 20 hours of production and post-production time to achieve that perfect image. But then I got even more curious, and I went to this product photography Facebook group, and I found out people are just 3D rendering the product, and they're also 3D rendering the environment. And it was spectacular. Like
Huh.
looking at that watch, I was convinced. So the reason I brought up luxury watches is because it is a luxury product. And every time there's a luxury product, it is so much more advantageous if you go the 3D rendering route, because there's two big steps to it, right? It's not just creating a mock-up of a product. You also then have to think about the texture and lighting. That's what makes the magic happen. When you get the texture right and the lighting. So any product, let's say I have an iPhone, it's going to appear differently in this lighting, but if I've set it up in a moody, more dramatic lighting, it's going to have a different effect on you visually. And that's where the lighting creates an illusion of premiumness. And when we're doing the 3D rendering, once we create that mock-up, then we have to figure out, okay, how do we want to bounce off the lights from this product in order to make it appeal to the luxury demographic? And so the question becomes, when do you really get advantage or benefit out of 3D rendering? So there's a few best practices. If, again, your packaging is amazing, it's luxurious, go for 3D rendering, because that will set apart your product from the others.
Right.
If your product, let's say, has very advanced engineering and you need to show a blow-up shot, let's say we have a water filtration bottle and you need to show the inner mechanism, 3D rendering can achieve that. You can't really dismantle and do a product photography of that. Anything with extra glare, anything with extra shininess, usually it's hard to capture that without the glare in product photography. So 3D rendering, again, becomes a really good example. And then lastly, just oversized products. So we had this cover for an RV, and we had to literally get an RV for that shoot, and it still had wrinkles, right? Because you can't really iron out the wrinkles from the entire cover that covers the entire RV. So we instead did a 3D render of that, and again, the images were much better than the competitors, and we were just able to stand out more. So yeah, there are a lot of times where 3D rendering just creates that extra premiumness or enhances the image so much that normal product photography just can't compete with it.
Yeah, we've seen this, and you can go to any, if you just go into pillows, or if you go into sheets, or you can go to dog blankets, and you'll see the people who don't do the 3D rendering. It makes a night and day difference. Like pillows, for example, you can tell the ones that are rendered, and then the ones that are just a straight product shot with a little bit of photo touch up. It's night and day. And the wrinkles, the natural wrinkles that happen in sheets, if you unfold them on a blanket or like apparel, it will make a huge difference. Just the quality, like you're saying. We're a big fan of 3D rendering as well. It's funny, I've never thought about it for watches, but watches or anything metallic is really hard to photograph properly. To get that quality to come out, you have to be one heck of a product photographer to bring out that's really a specialty. Now, I noticed that we've got 3 questions. I am short on time today, so Kelsey, I have until about 12:55, so about 7 minutes. Can we go to the questions?
Yeah, for sure. So let's see. We had a couple about managing VAs and best practices. So from CoolHand99, what is the best way to manage a VA and know the time being charged is actually the time being worked?
Yeah, so it's hard, right? Because it's a remote position. You need tracking. There are software like Hubstaff where you can implement. It takes screenshots. I don't recommend it. It just conveys a point that you don't trust the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, it's more KPIs based, right? And that's where my formal education maybe helped me a bit. I was doing a lot of performance management, but any key performance indicator, let's say a VA, Norm, just give me a task. Maybe I can explain it in that context.
Amazon posts.
Amazon posts, right? So a very clear KPI would be how many you need in a month. So let's say you guys decide that you need 10 posts in a month. You need to figure out how much time it takes to create one Amazon post. So how much time does the research take? How much time does it take to actually design that? How much time does it take to photograph it? There's 3 tasks you figure out. You've now broken it down. Create like a spreadsheet where you can track, ask that person to track each and every post. How much time did it take to do all these 3 things? And come up with one post. And then over a month, you can analyze the data. Okay, it took 30 hours. That's fine. You can pay whatever their rate is. In fact, just like Norm, I like to pay a bit extra in the form of bonuses, just so it incentivizes them. And after the month, if you're not happy with the progress, if you think it should take 25 hours instead, figure it out with them. See the little tweaks that he can make or he or she can make to achieve 25 hours. And that's how you keep on going. It's a constant optimization that you have to do.
Yeah, it's a great way to start a relationship too. Is if all of a sudden you're slapping Time Doctor or something on there, it just brings down that trust level or that confidence. So for us, anyways, is we don't do any of that. We track very similar to you, and what we'll do is at the end of the day, let's say, if they do 9 instead of 10, we just do a sit down. Let's figure this one out and see if we can improve it, or maybe our time was out. Now, one other thing we do, let people know right during the interview process, is don't be offended if we do a time study. We want to know what it's going to take. So if we ask you to monitor every 15 minutes what you're doing over this 1 week period, it's not because we're trying to overlook or micromanage you. We just want to understand the process, come back and work with you so we can properly give you timelines.
Yeah. And I would like to add something to it. When it comes to improvements, this is a big thing that I've realized across last 3-4 years, is you might have 10 ideas that you can give to the VA to improve on a particular task or skill, but ask them instead, how do we improve? How do we go from 30 to 25 hours? Do you have any ideas? Usually what I find is when they're the ones pitching the ideas, it's a trap because they commit to doing those improvements then. And basically you're just holding them accountable to that, whatever they said, instead of you just dropping down every idea and maybe it's pursued, maybe it's not. So
good point. All right, Kels, next question.
Okay, next one. Let's do this one from Redbeard. Can you 3D render prepackaged food products?
A good one, yeah. So that's one I missed out. Any prepackaged items, whether supplements, foods, protein powder, there's a lot of different ones. No scuff marks, no imperfections, no nothing. It's just spectacular, beautiful. You guys can see it, even like spices. So anything that's prepackaged, whether it's a food item or not, should definitely be 3D rendered.
Okay, great. And just a reminder for everyone entering today's Wheel of Kelsey, you need to have both hashtags in your entry. So that's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey or hashtag video or hashtag one step. So any of those 3 hashtags, we need at least 2 just to know that you watched this episode and you're entering for this giveaway specifically. And then our last question, Rad just was asking about Amazon service providers listing as VA. I don't know if you need more context for this.
Yeah, not sure. How about Amazon service? Yeah, I might need a bit more on this.
Okay, so Rad, if you could just, if there's any other things you want to add to that question, just let us know. But anyways, I think that's it. I know, Norm, you have got a cutoff time today, so
Yeah.
we could probably move on to the wheel, if that sounds good.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so first a quick word from our sponsor, and here we go.
A big thank you to our sponsor, Startup Club, the largest club on Clubhouse with over 790,000 members and growing. They're one of the world's largest communities supporting the startup ecosystem, from founders to those wishing to work for a startup and everything in between. You can find them at www.startup.club for blogs, recordings, and a calendar of upcoming shows, and on the Clubhouse app. Just search Startup Club for daily shows 24/7. You can also now listen to their show, the Serial Entrepreneur Club podcast, on Apple and Spotify too. Stop by to connect, learn, and grow together.
All right. Okay, so it is the Wheel of Kelsey. Here we go. Enjoy.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. So
right.
thank you, everyone, for the Wheel of Kelsey. Let me just pull up the wheel, and we'll give this a spin. All right. So here we go. I'll shuffle these all up, and let's see who today's winner is for our free starter video. And it looks like
Marsha.
Marsha.
Congrats,
is today's.
Marsha.
Congratulations.
All right. So Marsha, I have your information, so this will be an easy one to connect with you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And we might be doing these little keyword hashtags in the future as well. So just keep an eye on that. Make sure you're watching. And yeah, Saddam, what's the best way people can get a hold of you if they have questions or want to get in touch?
For sure, yeah. So our website's www.amz1step.com. You guys can also reach out directly through email, info@amz1step.com, or any of our socials. Our Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn is pretty much, including YouTube, is just AMZ One Step. So,
all right, very good. So unfortunately, I've got to take off. I have a podcast that I got to be on. So,
oh wow.
Saddam, I am going to be reaching out to you. I've got a bunch of things that I need to talk about, but I'll contact you later on. Thank you for being on. It's been a really great podcast. Hopefully, we can get you back on talking about a few other topics. And other than that, I think that's it for me, Kels.
All right.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Saddam, and we'll be talking to you later.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Always a pleasure to talk to fellow Canadians. So,
all right, we'll see you later. Okay, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Sorry, but I do have to leave. Kelsey, why don't you close it out?
All right. See you later. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. As usual, if you haven't yet, please smash those like buttons. Give us those thumbs up. We really do appreciate it. And also, if you're not part of the Facebook group, that is the Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective. That's where you can get all the updates. We're also going to be, we're thinking about starting up an email campaign for you guys, letting you know when we're going live, the guests that are coming out, the topics, what we've learned from them. It's going to be great, even some giveaways too. So more information about that. We're kind of looking for a big kind of rebrand, kind of have some fun. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. So make sure you join the group. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And I think that's it. So if you have any questions at all, if you want to know maybe the guests, if you have guest suggestions, topics, you can always reach out to me either on Facebook or my email is k@lunchwithnorm.com. We've got some really exciting things happening over the next couple weeks and months. So we're excited to let you know what's in store for you guys. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed and have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of the community. We really do appreciate you guys tuning in. I know we do. We go live 3 times a week and it's a lot, but we really do enjoy seeing you guys pop in and watch with us. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk to you later.
100.